But I asked you, Will, how's family life,
Family
man?
life is good, man.
Good.
I guess this connects to the formula shortage.
Well, let's talk about the formula shortage. You got the story from the Daily Mail. This is what America last looks like. GOP rep fumes at pallets of baby formula being sent to border centers for illegal migrants, while American babies go without amid nationwide shortage. So she posted this picture she said she got from a border patrol agent. The first photo is from the Ursula Processing Center at the U.S. border. Shelves packed with baby formula. My favorite thing about it, you're going to love this, is there are signs that say, I think it says like 84. I don't know if you can see it. What does it say? It says like 84 times 26 equals 2016. And people are like, it says 2016. It's clearly a very old photograph.
What?
And it's like, dude, they're talking about the amount of baby formula they have.
Everybody who says this is fake doesn't have a child or does not purchase formula. Like it's I mean.
But are they really giving it to illegal immigrants instead of Americans?
I'm sure they have like a backup supply, right? Like they've probably got their supply line set up. But here's the thing to understand, right? There's a lot of. It's not the hardest to find like the standard issue formula right now, right? There's sort of like the very basic, like most companies that make formula and have some sort of like formula that is the default similar to breast milk formula, right? And that's still available in a lot of places. And even if you can't find the brand you've been used to, you can find like a version of that. The problem is that some babies need these like very niche specialty formulas because they have very special nutritional needs. They just don't tolerate the normal stuff. And those babies are stuck. There might be like 2 companies making that particular type of formula, and they're scrambling. And it's like they can't eat anything else. And I mean, there's people saying
cow's
like,
milk.
Right? Oh no, they can't. They can't
Goat's
eat anything
milk.
else. This is what they eat.
Yeah.
And
Goat's milk.
Yeah.
Like they're scrambling to find it. And
Wait, horse milk.
Horse milk. Right.
You're onto something.
Have we tried it?
So I mean, this is a real thing. Like on our end, like we have to use formula. That's not a choice. We need to.
Yeah.
And we're lucky that our little Elizabeth tolerates like the standard issue normal close to breast milk formula, so we've been able to switch. But we've already switched once, right? We switched away from Similac to like this Amazon house brand. Now we're gonna have to switch away from the Amazon house brand because that's out of stock, so we're switching to like something else.
Oh gosh.
And you're just wondering like, what's the next thing that's gonna go out of stock, right? Like when is this gonna end? And they're gonna get this plant. They shut down this like the single most biggest production baby formula plant in the country over some health issues, and they haven't reopened it. And it's like there's problems. Like we've empty shelves of formula.
Well, I just found out that cow's milk has no vitamin C, but horse milk actually has lots of vitamin C.
Really?
Well, thank you for the suggestion.
Good suggestion. Yeah.
Well, I mean, but I've seen a lot of posts from we actually made the joke, just breastfeed. And then I can't remember who we had on, but they were like, what did mothers do before Nestle was incorporated? But I understand not everybody can or does.
Wet nurses.
The answer is wet nurses, right?
La
like
Leche
unless
League. Yeah.
that you would go down to the town forum and there would be women who could breastfeed, and you would hand your child over to the woman whose job it was to literally breastfeed everybody's children.
So women need to create breastfeed pods if they have a baby.
So
joke.
I mean, I don't know what else you're going to do. If your baby's starving, you're going to do what you got to do, right?
Yeah.
We have the equivalent, some form of that in the La Leche League, which is women who donate excess breast milk, which is such an amazing idea. This is an international league where you can go to almost any community. There's one in Frederick. There's a bunch in this area, and you need to hook up with that and see if there's women who are willing to donate, because some of them have extra. So I think that's probably the best source for people who are really struggling to find formula. Pediatricians say not to make it, but I also know that pediatricians get a lot of kickbacks from these companies to recommend these formulas.
Do you think a person can live off of nothing but human breast milk?
Probably not an adult.
Probably not an adult.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Bodybuilders buy it.
Yeah, but they're dumb.
I don't know. But yeah, I mean, there's people who are like, and then that doesn't necessarily solve. They're like some babies who can't tolerate breast milk. They really do need very specific things.
Well, I mean, but let's be real, Will. I don't think your child is deserving of it because there are oppressed, marginalized babies at the border.
Right.
Yeah.
There was somebody who tweeted.
Did you consider that?
We tweeted out that I was like,
deserve it?
Well, we tweeted out that I was well stocked on formula, right? Because like I've seen this coming. This has been in the news. So we got like maybe 2 months of formula in the pantry.
Oh, good for you.
And somebody tweeted at me. It's like, what about other people's babies? You're being selfish. Like, do you think your child is more important than other people's children? I was like, Yes.
I do care
To
more
me,
about my child.
Yes.
Yeah.
Other people's children are other people's job. My child is my job.
I just love that question. Do you think your kids are more important?
Yes.
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, it's a serious problem. We can talk about all the other inflationary pressures people are facing, but a shortage of formula for the families who really need it, I mean, that is devastating.
That is, I mean, it's like the only food. Like, imagine going to the grocery store and there's nothing there.
Now, so
right?
that's
the equivalent for these children who like can eat one thing and that's their entire diet.
Now, hold on.
That's an unbelievable scandal.
So we got these photos, right? Here's a photo from the store of the empty baby formula section. Explain to those who don't understand. It looks like there is formula. Can't parents just buy these formulas?
So first off, it means you have to switch, right? Like no matter what. So like there's only one brand that actually has canisters, right? It looks like Enfamil, which is on the top row. Then you have like that means so if your kid is used to and tolerates some other formula like Similac, which is the other major brand, or like the house brands, like you don't really like switching formula because your baby tolerates and it works. You want to stick with the same one. So basically it means like it doesn't matter if you've been using Similac or any other brand, guess what? The only thing available today is Enfamil. And moreover, not all the Enfamil's up there. So if your baby tolerates a very specific like kind of type of formula, say one that's like lactose free for sensitive or some, there's Alimentum, there's a wide variety. Well, that might not be there. So guess what? The formula your baby tolerates isn't at the store. So you need to go to another store.
You need to drive.
And moreover, it's like, there's not that much on the shelf right there, right? Like, the Similac thing, that little the bottle, that's like nothing because the powder is actually where you actually can feed your kid in bulk, right? Like the way most people end up making formula is you get the powder in bulk, you add water and you mix it, and so like one canister of powder will last you like a week, right? That little like thing, that the bottle on the middle shelf, right? That'll last you 12 hours. Right, that's like 12 hours of food.
We got to make wet nurses great again.
Right, like apparently. So that's a problem, right? Like it's not that most babies will probably be able to tolerate one of the formulas that's on the top shelf, but that's not good, and it really needs to not get worse, right? And then for some babies, that's a huge problem.
I'm wondering, like, how often do societies go through this period where there's like this fall off? You know what I mean? A strife. I suppose we can make references to Strauss-out generational theory or the fourth turning or whatever. But I'm wondering, all of a sudden we had this luxury that is formula. We used to need wet nurses. That was the normal human thing. We invented formula. We invented a process by which we could feed babies. And now all of a sudden it's a shock to our system that we don't have it. If we were still doing traditional wet nurse stuff, nobody would care about this. So it seems like the developments and everything we've had being ripped away, gas prices through the roof, you can't drive anymore, it's hard to work, it's hard to buy a house, food shortages, diesel shortages, baby formula shortages, cat food shortages. It's like we reached this plateau of luxury and now we're being dropped off. And like, I'm wondering, does that happen often?
It seems like it's part of the system of growth because I was thinking last night, like, what if I just disposed of my feces in the woods? I'd be like, well, wouldn't be a problem as a one-off. Like I could do it one time, but it's not sustainable. And as the city grows, not everyone can just go dump their waste in the woods. And I think the same thing.
They used to throw it out their windows.
Yeah, exactly. When you have a few enough people, it's fine. Just send it over there, over the hill over there, and you don't have to think about it. But once society grows to a point, you can't, like wet nurses, maybe you could argue the wet nurses no longer made sense. I think in this society they could.
Mandatory milking.
Well, wet nurses, I mean, it's not economical, right? Like as opposed to paying it in terms of, but the thing is it's not fragile.
I'll tell you this right now. I'm willing to bet women who are overproducing are making a good penny.
Oh, I'm sure they are.
Yeah.
Because you've already had women who sell their breast milk to bodybuilders. And I guess the idea is they're like, human breast milk is formulated perfectly for humans.
Babies,
so bodybuilders buy it and they're like, they want it. But you also have mothers who buy it when they can't produce because they prefer breast milk over formula. I think the demand is obviously through the roof. So, we joke about wet nurses, but it's probably in full swing right now. It is happening.
Could well be, yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
Isn't it interesting that this new development, and don't get me wrong, I love science. I think that scientific advances are amazing. And part of the reason we require formula is because we're able to deliver and sustain babies as young as 21 weeks. Mm-hmm. But it is very interesting that this scientific development is pushing us away from other people. It is keeping us from relying on somebody like a wet nurse. And of course, you don't want to be tied to another person, but it's dissolving the community.
That's the answer. Tied to the other person.
Right.
No more removal of umbilical cords until...
That's right. I agree.
Absolutely.
And you don't got to worry about formula. The baby's just
placenta.
The mom
baby.
eats the cheeseburger and the baby grows.
Yes.
I can speak like formula is a wonderful invention. There's a lot of people who rely on it for a reason. In terms of reliably. I mean, because breastfeeding's not for everybody, right? Like it can be a real struggle for people. For us, we absolutely needed to switch to formula. Like it wasn't really an option by the time we made that decision. And
for sure. I just mean, I ask, what does that mean for our civilization if planes, for instance, all of a sudden the cost of flying is getting really, really difficult. It's going up for a lot of people. What happens when these inventions, these standards that we'd call them luxuries 100 years ago, they become standards? What happens when we lose those? Are we in for a long fall?
What are you talking about? Electricity, maybe the central electric grid. We're so used to that. If that goes out, it's like a Jenga tower. If you take out the wrong block at the wrong time.
Well, you're seeing the blocks of diesel because with diesel going up, diesel is how we get all of the products that go on our store shelves. And you pull out one pin, and I don't think that people understand this because we've lived such fluffy, protected lives for so long now. And I remember there was a point in time where you could watch anything on your computer, you could order anything through DoorDash, and you could go to the store and get everything. And I remember thinking, this is amazing. We're incredibly lucky. It's all about to fall down. And I don't remember why I thought that, but pretty soon after that, we ended up with COVID. We started to have supply chain disruption, and I'm starting to think that was the peak. I don't know if it's all downhill for us or not, but it's not looking good, and I think it's only going to get worse.
Tim, you asked earlier about our society and how if it frequently happens, like this kind of cycle or this kind of thing, and it's like, we can think of America as a society, but realistically, the globe is a society. The entire species is society, and starvation and famine is prevalent. In the 1900s, you not only have the Holodomor, which is human caused, you got the Cultural Revolution in China, which I don't know how many millions of people died from starvation because of that. And right today, let's talk about over there where we're bombing in Yemen. I think that the Americans are involved in the Saudis bombing Yemen and
the
causing
blockade,
famine.
Yeah,
the famine
US has been
so like famine, it's almost always there. And if you're on the wrong end of the stick.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. But if you want to check out the full show live, tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And if you want more special access content, head over to timcast.com and become a member. Your membership helps sustain this company, keep our journalists employed, makes this show happen, and you will get access to exclusive members-only segments of the Timcast IRL podcast, and there's a massive library to check out. So again, go to timcast.com or tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., and we'll see you all there.